Welcome back to D&D OC. Today we're looking at 10 more of the best pound-for-pound spells in D&D. Specifically, we're looking at numbers 20 through 11. If you'd like to see my picks for the top 10 best spells in D&D 5e, check the description below. You can also check out the playlist I made for all of my top 10 videos. Before we kick off the list, I wanted to go over the criteria I use again in helping me select these picks. Number 1. How powerful or dramatic is the effect of the spell? Number 2. How early does the spell become accessible? And 3. Does the spell stay relevant throughout the entirety of the campaign? So while it's easy to choose powerful spells, I give preferential treatment to spells that come online quickly and stay good for multiple levels or upcast well even for Tier 2 and Tier 3s of play. Let's start off with my number 20 pick, and that is Gift of Alacrity. As a Dunamancy spell, not every table may allow for Gift of Alacrity, and while I don't think it's a broken spell by any means, the value this spell provides is undeniable. Extremely straightforward, Gift of Alacrity allows us, or a creature we touch, to add a d6 to their initiative rolls for its duration. The duration is an incredible 8 hours, so usually that's an entire adventuring day, and doesn't require concentration, and it's only a first level spell. This is a great option in particular for the Fey Touched feat, as it's a passive buff and winning initiative is always helpful, but it can be crucial if trying to land an AoE spell or a control spell before your enemies can react. With number 19, we have Fireball. When this spell comes on at 5th level, it's arguably overpowered, dealing 8d6 fire damage on a failed dex save in a 20-foot radius. While not upcasting particularly well, it continues to stay good in Tier 3 levels of play to soften up groups of enemies, but drops off in its effectiveness in Tier 4. Still, because of how dominant Fireball can be at lower levels, it deserves a spot on a pound-for-pound list. At number 18 is another fan favorite spell, and that is Polymorph. Polymorph is a 4th level spell that we can cast on ourselves or an ally. It requires concentration and lasts for up to an hour. During that duration, we can transform into a beast with a CR equal to our level or lower. Some of the more notable options are the Giant Ape or the T-Rex. The Giant Ape has 157 HP and a ranged rock attack. The T-Rex has 136 HP, but a 50-foot movement speed and a bite attack that can grapple. Once these hit points are diminished, the target simply reverts back to their original form. If you're using Polymorph to cast on yourself, make sure you protect your concentration through the various means. Polymorph can also be cast against enemies, and if they fail on a wisdom saving throw, we can turn them into something harmless, like a bunny or a turtle. Similar to Fireball, Polymorph does fall off in effectiveness later on in Tier 3 and Tier 4, but its impact when it becomes available is undeniable, and perhaps one of the first times during the campaign that your character feels truly and overwhelmingly powerful. At number 17, we have an interesting tactical spell with Spike Growth. Spike Growth is a 2nd level spell available to druids and rangers, but Dow Genie warlocks also have access. I mentioned the Dow Genie in particular because Spike Growth really excels when you have forced movement options, like Eldritch Blast with Repelling Blast, the Crusher feat, Telekinetic, Grappling, etc. I'm getting ahead of myself though. Spike Growth provides a 20-foot radius of difficult terrain. When a creature moves into the area, they take a measly 2d4 piercing damage, but they also take this damage for every 5 feet they travel through the area. That's why forced movement is such a huge deal. If you build around Spike Growth or have teammates that can work in conjunction with the spell, the damage output can be enormous as you rake your enemies to shreds over the spikes. Pass Without Trace has also made an appearance on my top 20 favorite spell list, but it also deserves a spot at number 16 on the pound for pound spell list. Like Gift of Alacrity, Pass Without Trace is very straightforward, providing a flat plus 10 to stealth checks for the entire party with concentration for up to an hour. This plus 10 is so significant that it all but guarantees a success on a stealth check. Pass Without Trace can be used to completely avoid encounters, or, if you prefer, utilize this spell to get a jump on enemies with a surprise round, taking control of the combat before it even starts. At number 15, we have Synaptic Static. I included Fireball in this list, and I think Synaptic Static is nearly double the value of a 5th level Fireball. So I wanted to make sure it was featured as well. Synaptic Static does the same amount of damage, 8d6, to the same area, a 20-foot radius, as a Fireball. Fireball cast at 5th level technically does more damage with 10d6, but Synaptic Static targets the superior intelligence save over dexterity, and it deals psychic damage, which is much less resistant than fire. That alone puts its damage output, on average, above an upcasted Fireball. Add on to this the rider that Synaptic Static decreases attack rolls, ability checks, and constitution saves by a d6 for those caught in the effect, and we have a really powerful spell that can help the entire party because of its debuff rider. Sometimes we find ourselves in a sticky situation and we need to escape. Misty Step is another iconic spell and can be a lifesaver at the number 14 slot. This 2nd level spell uses only a bonus action and allows us to teleport 30 feet to an unoccupied area that we can see. Not only can this spell allow us to reach areas and distances for strategic positioning or to bring an enemy within range, it also serves as an escape option if we're caught in a difficult terrain or grappled. Saving our own tails and allowing us to fight another day or escape a deadly situation is so important. Additionally, Misty Step keeps as a viable option throughout all levels of play. The number 13 spell goes to Healing Word. Like Misty Step, Healing Word is only a bonus action to cast. It's a 1st level spell, so it comes online immediately for bards, clerics, and druids. While the healing is minimal with a 1d4 plus your spellcasting modifier, the optimal way to heal allies in 5e is after they've gone down, and Healing Word is the perfect way to do so. It's very difficult to constantly heal allies to full in 5e, especially during mid-combat, so waiting for an ally to go down and then popping them back up is really effective. Healing Word is considered superior to Cure Wounds because while it heals less on average, it's only a bonus action and has an impressive range of 60 feet. This reminds me of Arwen from The Lord of the Rings with her beauty and elven magic capable of healing most wounds and hearts. At number 12, and just missing out on our top 10 list, is Web. 2nd level spells have fared really well on this list, and I consider Web to be the strongest 2nd level spell in the game. Web takes an action to cast, requires concentration, and lasts for up to an hour. The web takes a 20-foot cube and becomes both difficult terrain. Each creature that starts its turn or enters the web during its turn makes a dex save. On a fail, they are restrained, meaning a movement speed of 0, they have disadvantage on their attacks, and attacks have advantage made against them. A creature can use its action, eating into their action economy, to break free from the web, but even that is after a successful strength check. Having this strong of a control spell this early in the campaign is the main reason why Web is at the number 12 spot. It does stay relevant throughout the remainder of the campaign as well, even on into higher levels. And finally, with the number 11 spot, so just outside of my top 10, we have Spirit Guardians. Spirit Guardians also made my top 10 favorite spells in 5e and is an incredibly powerful spell. To reiterate my criteria, a great pound-for-pound spell needs to have a strong impact, come on early, and stay relevant. So let's see how Spirit Guardians fares. How's the impact? Well, it's a 10-minute concentration spell that creates a 15-foot radius around you. Targets that enter have their speed halved, and if they fail a wisdom saving throw, take 3d8 radiant damage. So this spell is providing both control through reduced movement speed and area of effect damage that can potentially persist round after round. As a 3rd level spell, the spell comes on early and is available to 5th level clerics. It's also an option for Divine Soul Sorcerers, Oath of the Crown Paladins, and a viable option for bards as their magical secrets selection. Lastly, the spell does stay relevant throughout the campaign. Clerics don't have a lot of great options for higher level spells, so upcasting Spirit Guardians for the increased damage is definitely a great option. And that's it for this list. If you think I missed a spell, be sure to check out my original top 10 best pound-for-pound spells in D&D 5e to see if your choice appears on that list. If you have a powerful spell for its level that didn't make my top 20 list, Let me know what you think and why you think it deserves mention in the comments below. As I've said before, with so many spells in D&D, there are definitely options that could easily make it onto these lists. Coming down the road, I'll make an Orochimaru and Jiraiya build, so I hope you'll join me then. Thanks for watching.